Okay, so I'm going to try something a little different today. I'm going to record video while I record a podcast, so you can see the magic happen. There's not much magic, but I'm going to try this, so we'll see what happens. Unmute my microphone and press record. Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Winding Road. I am your host, Travis L. Scott. And today I'm doing something a little different, constantly exploring new things, testing new things. Today I'm going to try what Gary Vee refers to as the triple play. I think that's what he calls it. Anyway, it's taking advantage of a podcast, so the audio, kind of verbal, writing a blog post to go with it, and a video. So I'm actually recording a video of this podcast, and you can watch that if you want to watch it. I think it would be boring as hell, kind of like watching someone play video games. I don't understand that concept, but maybe it's just a generational thing. But anyway, gonna try this today. Like I've mentioned before, video is different for me. I don't like. I'm not comfortable doing it. Just like I'm not comfortable taking selfies. I think it's weird. But I'm gonna try it and see, because that's where things are going. People want to watch videos, and I'm gonna give the people what they want. So today I want to talk about something I just wrote about, and the title of that blog post is "You Only Have to Matter to One." And really what I mean by that is, one of the things that I've recently learned about as it relates to marketing is something that Seth Godin has called the minimal viable audience. And what that means is, you don't really need to try to have mass appeal. When I started this podcast, I thought the way to do it was to try to create mass appeal, try to create something that will get tons of likes, tons of subscribers, could potentially blow up and turn me into the next big thing. And that's really not the way to look at it at all. So I've taken a different approach to my podcast. I've taken a different approach to marketing. And I want to talk today about how you can take a different approach to your job search, your next career move, how the minimal viable audience relates to that. So about this podcast first. So really what I've realized is, I only need to try to appeal to a very small audience. And that's where the magic will happen, and that's where it will grow from there organically. So my goal right now with this podcast is appeal to 10 very engaged people. That's it, 10. And then hope that those 10 will tell 10, and those 10 they tell will be very engaged and very interested. And it's kind of like the saying, people like us do things like this. That's the goal. I'm not trying to go for mass appeal. I'm not trying to broadcast what I do far and wide and try to get a million likes and followers and all that stuff. I'm not doing that. Focusing on small engaged audience, and realizing that this isn't for everyone. And I don't want it to be for everyone. I want it to be for the people who it matters to, the audience I'm trying to reach. So that's what I've started to do. Really get focused, really get narrow with my topics and my reach, and we'll see what happens. And I think the same thing applies to your career, really. If you want to think of your career and your job search like a marketer would, what the minimal viable audience means is, stop spraying and praying with your resume. Stop applying to everything that you may feel like you fit for one basic requirement and miss on the others. Really be specific about what it is you want. What kind of company do you want to work for? Do you want a company that values parental leave? I know I do. Do you want a company that values time off to recharge, to be creative, to take a mental and physical break? I know I do. Do you want a company that cares about career advancement, that cares about where you want to go, what your willingness and eagerness to learn new things, and are they going to be able to stretch you where you need to be stretched to not only benefit you but them as well? I think it would be nice for someone at a company to be able to do a lot of different things, or have knowledge about a lot of different things or interests. It's only beneficial for everyone. So really focus on what companies you want to work for, and make it very, very narrow. And hopefully you have some time, because what I'm going to talk about today takes time. If you're looking for a job and you need a job tomorrow, this is probably not going to be the right approach, because you need to get out there and probably do need to spray and pray, and you just need a job. I'm not talking about people who are looking for a job and need something now. I'm talking to people who can, who are thinking a little bit ahead, kind of planning your next move, trying to stay a couple of steps ahead. And you're not expected to know what exactly you want to do next, or those kind of things, but really start to target in on the relationships you want to build. That's where this is going. So figure out what you want to do, where your strengths lie, then figure out what companies align with that, with your strengths, with your values. That's a big thing. And in a place where you think you can thrive. And then, and narrow down to just a few to focus on. And then go out on LinkedIn or some other, I don't know where else you would go. But try to do some research on people that work there, people who work in the departments you would work in. So if you're in marketing, go and look for people who are in their marketing departments or department, depending on the size of the company. Look at the leadership. Who could be your manager, or who could be your manager's manager. Those are the influencers, really. If you start to think about this as in marketing terms and influencer marketing, it's real. It's a big thing. Because people trust certain people and trust what they think and their opinions, and the same thing is true for your career. And that's why building solid relationships are so critical to finding your next role, and not just finding a job. And so really, and then reach out to those people. Start to build a relationship, get them on the phone, treat them as a mentor. Ask them questions about how they got to where they are, how they like working for the company, how they hire. Talk about your experience and get advice on what you can do to strengthen some areas, or maybe there's some gaps in places, and use it as kind of an informal interview, but really get coaching. And then just, if you feel like it's a good connection and you have some good advice, look at it as maybe an ongoing thing. Ask if you can reach out in a couple months, connect, have some questions. Don't just call and talk about the weather, but you have to be focused, and I'll talk about that at another time. But really use it to get an outside perspective, and also start to build a relationship and become known to those people. And as you do that, they'll start to see how you think, see what's important to you. They'll understand how important learning is to you. You ask good questions, that matters. And so those things start to add up, and people start to take notice of those things. And those are the intangibles, right? What's on your resume, it's hard to communicate intangibles. And those are the little things, the soft skills, the really, it's the what you can do and what you're capable of. What's on your resume is the past. It's what you've done. It's not necessarily indicative of what you can do or what you will do. That's why it's very difficult to hire people on what's on paper. And it's very difficult to find a role based on what's in the job description, and to convey what you can do and what you're capable of. And who knows, you might have been boxed into a role that wasn't a good fit for you, and your strengths are somewhere else. And if you were really able to utilize your strengths and your passions and what you're really, really good at, what you were put on this earth to really do, it would be tremendous, right? I mean, it would be great for you. It would be great for the company you end up working for. So that's really, I think, where people should really try to focus, is on those things. And it's going to take time, because you just have to get to know these people, and they have to get to know you, and know what you're capable of, beyond what you've done in the past. So that's the key. And so don't spread yourself too thin. Don't try to contact 50 people and have meaningful communication and relationships with 50 people. Try to be very focused. Reach out to maybe 10, and you probably will only end up reaching 2 or 1, but that's okay. You don't really need to reach 20 and have 20 conversations. So reach out, get to know one person at a company, maybe 2, and then move to another company and get to know them, and do the same process and do it just a couple of times, and then build that over the next year or 2. And I think you'll be amazed at what happens. It's a long-term approach. It's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to get you a job tomorrow. But that's not the goal. The goal is to find the right job, and you really only need to matter to one person to do that. Really, it might take talking to a couple, but at the end of the day, it's not 100 jobs that you apply for. It's not really a numbers game. That's an old way of thinking, and a bad way of thinking, because you'll probably hit one out of 100 jobs you apply to, but is it going to be a good one? Is it going to be the right next move for you? I doubt it. I highly doubt that it is. So be specific, and be determined, and be persistent, and be empathetic as well. Understand who you're talking with, that they're busy, that they have a lot of things to do. But really just try to build relationships, and try to see if there's something you can offer them. And a lot of times what you're offering them is the ability to be a mentor, to talk about what they know, talk about how they got to where they got. And a lot of times that's enough. People enjoy that. People love to coach. People love to teach. They love to talk about themselves, but they also like to help people. And if you're thinking about reciprocity, and you're thinking that you're just taking, that's not really the case a lot of times. They get something out of the giving. So there is some reciprocity there at the end of the day. So hopefully that helps. Really just focus on the minimal viable audience you need to find the next role that really is going to make a difference for you and for your life. So, as usual, hit me up on Twitter at 509marketer. That's where I am. You can also email me, travis.scott@gmail.com, and I'll sift through the people who think I'm the rapper, and we'll find your email and we'll reply. You can also use the contact form on my website to ask questions or make suggestions about a topic that you want to have. I'm also in the process of trying to figure out a way to allow people to record questions, so then I can actually use those recordings in a podcast, and play your question, and then talk about my answer or insight. So that's coming. I'm working on that. But in the meantime, just email me, hit me up on Twitter, use the forms on my site, windingroadpodcast.com, and we'll go from there. We'll kick it old school like that for a while. So until next time, be great, go kick some ass, and I'm out.